Hello, Jesse.
Hi, how are you doing? Just a second, I'm texting Val because she tried to call me.
Mm-hmm.
Tried to call me back. So are you doing like a live stream or what? Or you just?
No, it's not a live stream. It's just like a recording audio.
Okay.
And I mean, I can chop it up, but I probably won't. And
Okay.
people will just have to digest it however they want. I feel like it's good for people who have no friends and want to have something in the background. That's been me.
Nice.
So if I can like that, then somebody might like that.
Okay.
What's on your shirt? Harrison Ford?
No, it's David Hasselhoff.
Oh, God. You're Belgian, sir. You're not German.
Yeah, no, it's kind of like an in-joke thing with a friend of mine. Yeah. Did you ever see this Master Movies
No.
thing? Okay, yeah. It was a Dutch thing. I think it was made by Dutch people, and basically they just overdubbed all these movies or TV shows in Dutch. So they would take things like Knight Rider with this guy in it and, you know, do like all these silly overdubs, like make it really ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we loved that. And my friend got me this t-shirt. Okay, sounds good enough.
You're so dapper right now. Like,
Dapper.
who dresses in a suit to go hang out at a bar?
I've been dressing like this since I was 20 or so. I don't know. Basically nothing's changed since then. Just, you know, haven't bought any new clothes. Just that same guy. Like, I don't know. Dapper, that's a nice word. But yeah, I'll take that as a compliment. Cheers. Are we still recording?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is this from something existing? Nice.
Bossa Nova vibes.
Yeah.
Love that stuff. Thank you.
Okay, let's talk about you for a second. You studied philosophy.
That's right.
Or was it ethics?
No, philosophy, yeah.
Yeah, you studied philosophy, made music in the meantime, then you became a music teacher.
Well, at first, so I did a teacher's training after my studies. And then for the 2 years after that, I was teaching ethics in secondary school. And in the meantime, still trying to make music, I had a band and all that. And then I started teaching music in a music school because I grew tired of teaching in secondary school. I had a hard year. And I did that for 5 years, I think. And now I'm back in secondary school. For just 1 year. So I'm almost done, actually. I'm quite glad that the end is in sight as well. Yeah.
And then you're going to make your big exit.
Yeah. That's the plan.
Do you know what you want to happen next, or you're kind of just open to possibilities?
Yeah, exactly. I still want my life to be about music mainly. That's still my main passion. And that's what I'm most interested in doing, just, being able to make and produce music and perform all that, right? That's what I'm going to try to do there in Thailand, basically kind of buying myself some time and taking in a completely different culture, completely different environment.
Food.
Oh, the food is so good there, yeah. I was there last summer in August and I just loved it. It was somewhere halfway through the journey that I decided that I wanted to come back and, stay, hang around for a bit longer. So.
Nice.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
Yeah.
Have you been there?
No. The only place in Asia I've been to is Japan.
Okay. When was that? When did you go to Japan?
10.
Oh, okay. Wow. Okay. Yeah. So what kind of impression did you get from Japan at 10? Do you have any memories of that?
Yes, actually. So my aunt was teaching English there, and I went to visit her for about 3 months. So I left school early and came back late for the summer. And I remember there was a boat race in Kyoto or Osaka, one of them, and I was on a speedboat following the boat race.
Wow.
So that's one experience I had. And on that speedboat, there was a photographer who wanted to enter a competition. So he said, "Can you model for me?" And so I modeled for him on a boat while following a boat race.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
And people would also stop me for photographs in the street.
Yeah.
So it felt like a real, celebrity life.
Wow.
Even though most of the time I was just sitting in a classroom by myself watching Friends while waiting for my aunt to stop teaching.
Right. Okay. Well, still entertaining. Watching Friends is still that's a pretty good life, I would say. Nice. I really want to go and see Japan as well. So I've been thinking maybe at one point when I'm in Thailand I will make a little trip there. And
that's the beauty of where you're going to go, is because you have so much access to all these really cool places in Southeast Asia and Asia.
Exactly. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I think first I'm going to hang around in Thailand for about a month and travel around a bit probably. And then I'm going to do some of the neighboring countries. So I'm going to visit Laos and Cambodia, definitely Vietnam. Definitely want to check that out. And I guess at one point I'm going to want to take a plane to Japan as well and stay there for a week, whatever is affordable, because it's supposed to be very expensive.
I mean, I get the impression that you're more about culture than you are about pizzazz. So
definitely, yeah.
If it's only 1 week, I actually wouldn't go to Tokyo or anything. I would go to Kyoto or Osaka.
Yeah. I mean, maybe I'll go for 2 weeks. I just have to check how expensive exactly it is there, because I've heard it's quite
Probably.
Definitely compared to Thailand.
Yeah.
Like it's extremely cheap. And yeah, as you said, the food, it's amazing. It's a bossa nova song I wrote a while ago. Like I actually made Portuguese lyrics for this one.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Do you want to sing it?
I could try, but I don't remember most of it. So, like, let me see. It started with like my attempt at a bossa nova song. It won't go on for long. But I actually made Portuguese lyrics to it. Let me see, how does it start again? I remember the chorus. The chorus went like... Deixa-me sonhar e capturar os amores impossíveis. Find them. I might be able to sing it. Would be nice.
I like my interpretation of it though.
I do too. Yeah, that was good. Let's see. Gonna be hard to find it, I guess.
That's okay.
Too bad, though. I have a recording of it.
Oh. You want to play a recording on a recording?
Yeah. I wonder if I actually sing in this one. Maybe it's just an instrumental recording. That's an old lyric. I made some alterations after this.
What's your process?
Sorry?
What's your process?
It depends. Like for this one, I just started I guess I was just playing a lot of bossa nova at the time, like learning some bossa nova songs and stuff, and I just, you start to just copy all these shapes that you find there. So I had this chord progression that I really liked, and I thought it sounded very authentic bossa nova as well, so I was kind of proud of that. And then, I was learning Portuguese as well at the time, but I can't say I was very good yet, or definitely not advanced. I still am not. I can have a conversation and I can understand a lot, but I guess I just wanted nice sounds for this one, so I just started writing whatever came to mind. It didn't matter what meaning it had. It doesn't have any theme or a subject in mind. I just took all these words that I liked, like passarinho or coração. That's all over the place in bossa nova songs, anyways. And just started putting it together, and eventually it did make some sense. It's still kind of impressionistic and a collection of all these images, but there's a coherence there in the end. So that's how that happened.
Nice.
It started with a melody. Yeah.
Nice.
How about you? What's your process currently? I bet you have many different processes as well.
Yeah, I'm not the one to stick to something for very long.
Yeah.
But lately, actually for quite some time now, for about 4 years, I've been working on a major project, and it's a lot to do with stream of consciousness and synchronicity. So sometimes, when you have, because we have a very interesting cosmological time period right now, where timestamps and dates and stuff kind of align very well, and even planets are aligning and shit like that. So a lot of woo-woo people are like, oh, this is a sign.
Yeah.
And for me, it's not that deep, but it's still actually very effective for working, because basically it'll be a certain day, and without pressuring myself, I'm just okay, what do I feel like doing today? And then I express something creatively, and it usually comes out full formed, and just a stream of consciousness, full formed and ready for dispersing. and it usually feels complete because it's like, even if it's not perfect, that's what happened on that day with the stream of consciousness, so I can like detach from the end product, because I can say that, oh, if it's not that good, it was stream of consciousness, what do you expect? But if it's also good, I'm like, yes, it was stream of consciousness, I'm a genius. So,
that's nice. I like that.
Yeah. It like relieves a lot of pressure and responsibility from the creative process, and
that's cool.
Yeah, but cool. The problem is that sometimes, because I'm always like, you kind of have to like act with a kind of a brake system when you're doing stream of consciousness, where you're just like, oh, okay, turn a little bit to this one. It's still true, but it's more, defensive. It's not making you so vulnerable that you're like revealing every single thought you have. But then sometimes it like goes on its own and you're very vulnerable.
Yeah.
And I have one song that was like super vulnerable. And I said, you know what? I'm actually going to publish it on streaming services. I don't care. And it's there. I never listen to it. I think I'm going to listen to it once in a while, if anything. But it was honest in a way that I'm very rarely honest, where like usually with my music, I don't talk about specific people or specific things because I don't want to like give them the satisfaction if something goes wrong.
Yeah.
But with this one, it was about a specific thing. And so the memory is spoiled because I've attached this music to it, and the song gets spoiled by the memory. So.
That's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. But that's the only one in the whole process that I feel bad about. Everything else I'm pretty happy with.
So this was also pretty much an improvisation.
Mm-hmm.
So something you recorded on the spot and it just came out that way. Yeah.
I mean, not quite an improvisation because like the arrangements are, there's some thought put into it, but the lyricism is usually stream of consciousness.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I could do that. I guess I could do that, but I have like a very, I don't know, there's like a high threshold there for me, like always has been, to like improvise lyrics and stuff like that. So I get the thing that you're saying about, honesty and all that in music, yeah. Sometimes I do that. That's another kind of process that I have is I will record something, usually like something more layered. So I guess like, a drum track and bass and maybe a couple of guitar tracks stacked and maybe synthesizer or whatever. Just something that, has a lot of space and like a certain vibe to it. And then, then I will just start improvising over that, like just record a vocal track. And, some of my songs came into being that way. And, I don't know, it's not, they're usually not very confessional or anything, like nothing of the kind that you mentioned. It's more like, random associations and stuff like that. So it can actually often feel even more detached than what I would, write if I consciously, sat down and went like, I'm going to write a song about this, or, or try to write a structured song with a certain, theme and things like that. So yeah, that also happens. There was one time in July. So I had this subscription to an online mastering service, eMastered, and it was ending somewhere in July, I think, or in August. I'm not sure. And I hadn't been using it for a while, so I just felt like I'm just gonna try to write as much stuff as possible right now, so I can still, get bang for my buck for this service. That was like the motivation behind it, because I was gonna cancel the subscription anyways. And so I actually did that. It really worked. Like, was a super productive and creative period for me. And basically, for I think 2 weeks or so, I recorded at least one thing, like one track per day, like improvisations. It could be whatever. So I recorded myself doing the dishes and then played guitar over that, and or I would do like this kind of musique concrète thing with all these objects and very silly stuff, but also some atmospheric, like I don't know, like ambient stuff, and some nice guitar improvisation, some actual songs. So many different things came out of that, and that was very interesting, because it's a bit like you said with the stream of consciousness thing, like you can kind of detach from the end product, or not feel that responsible for how it turns out. Like you're just gonna take it as it comes out at the moment. And I have a couple of tracks like that. One that I recently sent to a friend to mix, and it's an instrumental track, and it's quite random. Like there's no clear structure to it, like it's just like some fiddling around on guitar basically. But I like it. Yeah, and it's very kind of raw and real, and just take it or leave it, that kind of thing.
Actually, I collaborated recently with someone from my Discord server that I run, and they have this very interesting approach to guitar. They kind of have these very free-flowing and fluid but dissociated sounds. And I mean, I can play you one of the recordings after this, because what I don't know, I just found it really interesting. They make me think differently sometimes about music, which is a good thing. Like it's not often that I'm like challenged. Like I don't really sit down and listen to experimental music, so it's not like I'm gonna find it easily. But yeah, like it was one of the few times where I was like, at first I was just like, what is this? And then I was like, actually, this is interesting, and this is a way of expressing yourself through guitar that I haven't heard before.
Right.
And that was like a really fun discovery.
Okay, I'm curious now about that.
Yeah, you might not find it as interesting as I did, but
I don't know. I'm definitely interested in different approaches to the guitar. Like not so long ago, I heard the album before. There's an album by David Sylvian. Remember?
Yes.
So he made this album called Manophone, and it's a collaboration with different artists, and it's quite experimental. There's a lot of improvisation going on, and there's this one guy, I forgot his name now, some Keith Rowe maybe, not sure. Anyways, he was kind of like a pioneer in this kind of experimental guitar music thing, where he would be, I think, like pretty much the first guy to just put his electric guitar down on the floor, like lay it down on the floor, and like put stuff in between the strings, and like like a prepared guitar, and then start I don't know, like throwing objects at it and stuff, like just completely different approach to the guitar than this kind of thing.
Almost percussive.
Yeah, but it's much more about the texture of the sound, and like then he would experiment with pedals as well, and what would happen with that. But like his philosophy was to put as much attention into it as as Beethoven would to his music somehow. Like be completely like focused on what he's doing in that kind of context. So it's quite interesting and very weird, and not always that listenable. But yeah, I've checked out some of his stuff, and definitely what he did with David Sylvian is very, very cool. Yeah. So I mean, always interested in different approaches to the guitar.
Nice. I'm thinking of a smoke break for a sec.
Sure. I'll just join you for some fresh air.
I'll keep rolling and we can talk about world issues and shit. That's what usually happens on the smoke break.
Sure. So this room is like just a spare room that they have for...
They have so much space that is going unused here.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So do you have a plan? Like, do you know how long you're staying? You're not planning to go back to Germany, right?
It's not really. I mean, I haven't vibed with Germany since I was there. Like, as much as I like how they approach things and how they handled COVID and all these things, it's still not enough to make me fall in love. Oh no, I don't have the cigs with me. Be right back.
Sure. I just farted, it's probably on there. It's very raw, like real stuff.
I don't think we need that reality.
You can cut it out. You do whatever you want. You can sample it. Yeah, I quit smoking like a year ago.
Nice.
I've been trying for a while without success. Many times, yeah.
How old are you?
33, almost 34.
I mean, you do get to a point where you're just like, I've done this motion enough times. This is no longer interesting.
Yeah, kinda. Well, I guess at the time that I decided to quit, I was still enjoying that thing, that motion, but I don't know. Like, part of me was always thinking, like, I really should quit, and I tried so many times, and the actual plan was to stop before I turned 30, because my housemate always used to say, like, if you manage to quit before 30, most of the damage that you do or that you have done to your body can still, like, be kind of, what's the word? Undone, basically.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can recover from, your body can recover from most of that damage. But after 30, if you're gonna continue smoking, it's gonna take way longer to recover.
I'm 32. I kind of.
Yeah, I mean, but that was my age when I quit.
All right.
But I'd been trying, like, I guess since I was 30, and I tried a couple of times before that as well. No luck. What about you?
For quitting?
Yeah, are you thinking about that, or?
Yeah, I mean, as any smoker does. You're like, oh yeah, I should quit.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know, sometimes I want to, and I even talk about it in my videos and stuff. But at the same time, like, actually when I went home to Jamaica in March, I thought I was going to quit smoking, but I quit meat for a bit instead, and I was just like, okay, it's enough to do one thing at a time.
Why'd you quit meat?
Somebody said that the animals want to live.
The animals want to live?
Yeah.
Who said that?
Somebody mean in an argument.
I'm not sure I get this.
Yeah, it was like an argument, and the person, one of the arguments that stuck out from the whole thing was, yeah, the animals want to live. And
they have a will to live as well.
Yeah,
so it's basically that.
Yeah, and I mean, it's an undeniable truth, and yeah.
Yeah, I completely agree. Definitely.
I'm eating meat again, though.
What happened to you?
I said, I want to live.
Right.
No, I didn't find a good argument against it, but I was stressed, and like food is one of those things that I always fall back on, and
right. Yeah.
So I traded a life for my comfort. Judgy eyes. Yeah. Judgy vegan eyes.
No, I'm a hypocrite though, because I'm a vegetarian right now. I'm haven't been strictly vegan for quite a while, and not proud of it. I mean, it's okay, I guess I'm doing what I can at the moment, but yeah.
Sometimes I think about was it Peter Singer's argument about habitual evil?
Habitual evil?
Mm-hmm.
What? I'm not sure.
This is a philosophical concept of habitual evil, where it's like basically every day people do things the way that the society is structured. Pretty much everybody every day is doing something bad by not getting any wealth they have and giving towards poor, starving people.
Yeah, that sounds like Peter Singer, all right.
Yeah.
Ethical altruism and all that, yeah. And,
I mean, I transposed the argument to the concept of, like eating animals and these kind of things, or, taking animal products under the way that it is done now. Participating in that system is a form of habitual evil. And we're so detached from it and the origin of the problem that we have no emotions tied to it. But I feel like subconsciously there's something under the surface that bubbles and then might point to why so many people might have anxieties and these kind of things. Not to say that this is the reason, because chemicals and real stressors exist, but I feel like on some level that kind of level of knowledge that we have passively of our integration into systems that are literally designed for death, I feel on some level we kind of respond to that, but not consciously.
That's interesting. So, are you talking like mainly about the meat industry here, or is it a more general thing?
I mean, that is a simple example, because okay,
it's a very straightforward kind of example.
Yeah, if you think about the fact that the meat is probably not healthy, then you're getting what woo-woo people would call low vibrational energy.
Right. And
I feel it's a very simple concept to accept. Yeah, low vibrational energy, and you accept it into your body, and there might be leftovers of the anxieties of that animal that enter your body, and then you become, it's possible. I'm not saying that that's how I believe things work, but I'm just saying it's a concept I play with in order to empathize with the entire thing.
That's interesting. I hadn't, I'd never thought of it in that way. Although it's a very common experience for vegetarians or vegans, especially, to find people very defensive generally whenever they're just present somewhere. Like there doesn't even have to be an
argument or discussion, or it doesn't even have to be mentioned. As soon as they know there's a vegan or a vegetarian at the table, some people are going to be like, yeah, but, and kind of like, trying to justify themselves somehow. And you feel that there's something there.
Yeah.
For sure.
I mean,
it's like you're a walking accusation or something.
Yeah, but I mean, I feel like it's because it would be the same thing if you were in the presence of a nun or a monk. You just start to feel like, oh, this person is so holy. Let me make sure that they know that I am also holy.
Well, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it's the same thing. That's interesting. I wouldn't feel that defensive about, sitting with a monk or a nun. Although I do respect them, definitely.
But I feel like if a nun would sit down and say, like, the second Jesus comes up, for example, with the nun, then you're suddenly like, bleh.
Yeah, but that's for different reasons, isn't it?
Yeah, I feel like the defensiveness when it comes to veganism and vegetarianism is because there is, on some level, definitely a valid argument. Exactly. And people know that their response is a simple one. I like meat, it gives me comfort, but it's also a selfish one, and it's very hard to defend. How much should emotions play in the factoring of who gets to live? How much should your emotions play in that? How much should your need for a nice warm stew play into the fact that a bunch of shit is being killed just for you? Well,
it's barely, you can barely call it a deep emotional need or anything. I mean, it may be comforting or whatever, or you may have some nice associations with it, but it's not like your need to be accepted is answered by eating a steak.
But for some people it is. In the States, for example, men find manliness in red meat.
Yeah, that's true.
And
no, that's true. That's true. There are definitely some quite profound emotional values attached to it.
Yeah, and it lengthens your dick by 2 inches or something like that to pretend that you eat meat and love it.
That's right.
People will just assume.
Yeah.
So.
But what else except for this manliness, that macho kind of thing? I'm familiar with that.
Also, I mean, I would say just familiarity. People don't like novelty that much, and making a lifestyle change is like, people think it takes a lot of effort.
Yeah.
And that makes it into a lot of effort. If you think it's going to be easy, then that's already half the work done. But if you think it's going to be like a diet, because people have bad associations with diets, and people call it a vegetarian diet or a vegan diet. It's not. You have so much to eat that you're not restricted.
Yeah, it's very misleading to call it
exactly.
diet.
Exactly. And I think that wording also creates a lot of the problem.
But diets can have different meanings, right? It can mean like you're on a diet, or just like your general food habits, basically. It's a correct term still.
It is a correct term, but it's also semantics and it feels
ambiguous.
A bit. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's like something medical or scientific to say this is what diet means, whereas layman terms are totally different.
Right. Yeah.
And also, I feel like there's also identity-based associations with these kinds of ways of eating, where people think, okay, so you also have to want to detach from society. You also want to have to live on a tiny house with a farm. This is what it means to be a vegetarian. This is what it means to be a vegan. You ride your bicycle and you're a hipster. These are, people have these ideas that once you eat a certain way, you also have to be a certain way.
I mean, yeah, it does change you in some very important respects. I think it doesn't, automatically turn you into a hipster, but it, yeah.
I feel but here's what: when I was like largely plant-based, and I still am largely plant-based, other things came naturally, where it was just like, if you're interrogating the very basic thing of what you do 3 times a day, what else should you interrogate? And then you start on a journey of self-discovery and self-inquiry, and so I feel like it's a natural association to have those two come together.
So what else happened in that respect for you? Like, where else did that lead you?
I think I started looking at the spiritual side of these kinds of things, and I tried out yoga for a bit.
Yeah.
And I used to do yoga when I was a teenager, and it was fun then because it was new, but I'm all about novelty. It's old to me now, so so I started doing my own kind of yoga, where it was like fluid dance movements and following intuition to say, like, okay, this is what my body needs right now.
That's
and
cool.
It worked. So I preferred to do that. But I then also thought about, like, how, okay, so crystals, for example. I don't believe that you should, like, necessarily invest your whole life in the idea of how crystals work or something like that, and I haven't really investigated. But on some level, I started to be like, oh, okay, I can understand how people form associations with saying, okay, this material thing symbolizes this thing to me, and therefore if I perform this ritual around it, it strengthens neural pathways around this idea and gives me a sort of like chemical relay system to trigger whenever I interact with this thing that symbolizes that thing to me. So you kind of see the inner workings of how these spiritual things are, and you give them more credence. So that was my process.
Okay, interesting. I think I was already meditating when I went vegetarian. Although no, I think actually the first time I tried to go vegetarian, because I was not a success the very first time. It was shortly after that I started to get into meditation. And then eventually I also tried yoga, so maybe there's, a causal relation there. But, although, I started to get into meditation when, it was like this one year where I was quite depressed, and I was looking for ways to get out of that, some kind of therapy, and feeling quite desperate about it. I just started looking stuff up, and I came across mindfulness, and I was like, okay, this is interesting. I was always kind of curious about this whole meditation thing and Buddhism, and apparently it's a therapy, and it's supposed to be effective as well. So I tried it, and that's
how do you feel about it?
I love it. I mean, I still meditate every day.
Oh wow! About how long?
10 to 20 minutes usually, sometimes longer.
Nice.
Yeah. But it's been a daily habit for, I think, let's see, 6 or 7 years now, pretty much. So I kind of did it on and off since my 20s, and at one point I just decided, okay, I'm going to make it into a daily habit. If anything, this is a good habit to have. Like, this is probably the best habit that you can have. Like, just get up in the morning and do meditation. Like, can't go wrong with that. So, and now I don't question it anymore. It's just automatic. Like, I don't have to set any reminders for myself or write it down anywhere. Like, it's just something I do in the morning.
Do you have mantras?
No. I usually do. I'm using Waking Up by Sam Harris. Do you know it?
No.
Do you know Sam Harris?
By name.
Philosopher. Well, he developed this app called Waking Up, and it's a meditation app, but it also includes all these conversations and lectures. So there's like a practice and theory section. and also a life section. So it's very broad.
Mm-hmm.
And he talks about many different things, and he invites like all these different speakers to it. So, some of them are like specialized in, like there are neuroscientists, for example, psychologists, meditation teachers, like, monks, people specialized in psychedelics. So it's very wide. And yeah, the purpose is to not only be a meditation app, but also, to try to kind of, how do you say it, introduce, that mindfulness or that, that aspect of meditation to daily life as well. So, and it's basically, an app designed to lead a more fulfilling life, generally speaking, by aid of meditation, mostly. And yeah, it's very good. I like it. Been using that for a while now.
Isn't Sam Harris like one of those evangelical atheists?
Is that what I call them?
The atheists who preach about atheism?
Yeah. Yeah, but like that's not the Sam Harris that I know. I know he did that as well, and he's written some books on religion where he's quite fierce. But I don't remember how I discovered it. Like I think I once listened to this audiobook by him called Waking Up, just like the app, and that was basically about meditation and spirituality, but secular spirituality is what he calls it, I think. Yeah, and I really like that. And his main project in life is this whole meditation app, and everything he's doing around that. So I think that whatever other views he may have, I think that's quite valuable.
I have this theory that if you're a public figure and you have all this, support on your ideas, even if you do grow, you tend to still have to defend your old work in order to keep it pumping and keep it selling. So you see a less authentic trajectory of how a person changes their mind and grows over time, because they have to be stuck in time as okay, that 20 years ago I wrote this one book,
right, yeah,
and I still have to defend this one book. Yeah.
Well, he never talks about this stuff in the app. I mean, sometimes I think there was one conversation in which religion was discussed to some extent, and he was making this point that we can do away with religion completely. We don't need it. We can take whatever is of value there out of religion and keep that, but the whole tradition or any rituals around it are of no importance. And this guy that he was discussing this with was he was of the opposite opinion.
Hey Alex, ik heb uw boek mee.
Ah ja, super. Ja, ik moest er nog aan denken.
Ja.
Zalig.
Hoe is het ermee?
Zo, ja.
Lang geleden.
Ja, inderdaad. De laatste keer was bij Bert thuis zeker.
Ja, dat was al kort na zijn verhuis geweest zijn. Nee, net na mijn operatie. Net na mijn operatie, ja.
Sorry.
No.
You were jamming here.
Yeah, no, we were jamming up there, and then we came down for a philosophical talk about life and...
Philosophical jam.
Okay, well,
Feel free to join, though. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's the only time that I heard him mention it in the app. Other than that, it's just about meditation, and he's inviting all these different people, and he seems quite open generally to having different perspectives come to the show. Well, it's not a show, but yeah.
All right, one last ciggy, and then we can...
Yeah, sure.
Back.
Sure.
And how's
glad
hers
it's
been?
spring.
Oh, well, how do you like no longer being in Ghent?
Sorry?
How do you like no longer being in Ghent?
Well, there's upsides and downsides. Like at first, I very much enjoyed not being in the city anymore, and kind of living at a slower pace of life. In some ways, it was like, a bit more relaxed, and less distractions, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Or I wouldn't as easily just meet with people or go for a drink or whatever, which I felt was a good thing, because there's always that temptation, even if you want to get work done, or you have other priorities, be like, oh, go to the center, have a drink, go to a show, whatever. So that's kind of nice that there's like a higher threshold to to go into the city, and but on the other hand, that's also already a downside, because I don't see some of my friends as often, and
When you go to Thailand, you won't see them at all.
true that. But I don't think, well, we'll see. I don't know if I would be that concerned about that once I'm there, we'll see.
Yeah. Do you have a plan of action for like meeting new people?
Well, I'm gonna take language courses there, or a language course. So I'll probably be meeting some people there, and I also want to explore the local music scene.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that way I will also be meeting a lot of people.
Perfect.
And I already know 2 people who live in Chiang Mai, and one other guy who lives somewhere more south. Yeah.
You gonna be surfing or something? Gonna be a surfer dude?
I don't know.
Beach bum?
Definitely not.
Do you like beaches?
Yeah, definitely. But last summer when I was in Thailand, I went to this island with my friend Lucas, and I went scuba diving. And what happened was I got an eardrum perforation, so I got a hole in my eardrum, an infection as well. So I flew home with a hole in my eardrum and an ear infection.
And the air pressure on the plane must have been...
No, that was okay, because there's a hole in it, like it's automatically equalized, so that's fine. There's no pressure, literally.
Okay, right.
That's actually good. But still, it was horrible. It was terrifying, because I didn't know what was happening exactly, and
Also, you're a musician. Your ear is life.
I know. So it was very frightening. And then, so I went to an ear doctor, and it seemed to be going well. It was, the infection healed, and then the hole started closing, but it didn't close completely. Like, just wouldn't actually heal completely, that hole. So they had to perform surgery. So I had ear surgery, like on my eardrum, in end of January. And that's what happened. I'm definitely not, well, surfing maybe, but never going that deep under the surface again, because that was like the very first time in my life that I did scuba diving. And I loved it. Like, it was amazing. It was beautiful. But then at one point it was just popped, and no pain, like, not really. No? So I actually didn't realize what had happened at the moment that it happened. So I realized something went wrong, but I just went up again, and I was like, okay, let's stop here. And then I went on the deck of the boat, and just like, okay, it's probably just some water stuck in my ear or something. I thought it would be fine, but yeah, it's been causing me a lot of trouble. before the surgery already, I started to get this low humming sound, like kind of like a sub-level humming in my right ear. I didn't know what it was, and the doctor also couldn't tell me exactly what it was. And then after surgery, it got worse again. Like, it changes a lot. So it got better again, then got worse again, then got better again. And now it's still there, but like it's barely noticeable. Like now, for example, I don't hear it because there's some ambient noise, and I also have tinnitus. Yeah. I got that in July, so that's
perfect.
Yeah, should be careful. I mean, it's okay actually. Like the tinnitus thing, it didn't take me very long to accept it, and I'm not much bothered by it generally. Like the worst thing about it is like being afraid that it will get worse, or that it is getting worse, or if you get too fixated on it. But like now it's just there, but it's like this, very subtle hissing sound in the background, basically. So it's okay.
It is so interesting how everybody's having this very specific experience. Because looking at you, I wouldn't have known that you were dealing with a constant humming in your ears.
Yeah.
Like you don't project that at all. But
I hope not.
Deep down.
Yeah. Yeah, no, there's so many people, like, once I realized I had it, I started asking some of my musician friends, and, many of them already have it, or they know somebody who has it, or it's quite a common thing, like especially among musicians.
Yeah, when you overwork the ear, I mean, on some level, I kind of have to be glad that I wasn't able to perform as much as I wanted to, or go to as many concerts as I wanted to, because my ears have been protected. Because those are not, as much as they're made by sound engineers, they're not safe places for your ears.
No, definitely, yeah.
All right, I'm gonna head back.
Yep, sure.
Let's go. Yo.
Oh, hey. How you doing? I haven't seen Val in months.
Really?
Yeah, it's been quite a while. Yeah, because when I had the surgery, I kind of stayed in for over a month. Then I started working again, and just slowly going back to social life and all that. So, yeah. Oh. It's chilly.
Chili?
Yeah.
Did not feel like I needed to add to that.
No obligations.
No, I like whenever it gets like really finger picky, I usually stay out of the mix.
Right. Why is that?
Just because.
Because there's already a lot going on.
Yeah, I feel like, okay, let the guitarist shine.
Okay, sure. That was very good. Yeah, I liked it a lot too. That, sounded like a full-fledged song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what's fun about this stuff.
Yeah, great.
Recording for an hour and 13 minutes. I'm gonna save it so it doesn't.
Maybe we should try to. I'm immediately thinking like we should try to do a proper recording of this one. You know?
Actually,
Yeah.
Well, what would be a proper recording? Because it's guitar and voice.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be anything more than guitar and voice, but just, I mean, like with microphones.
Yeah. Oh, that's how you meant. I thought you meant like now. Like I was like, okay, how?
No.
But yeah, that I would definitely record that for real.
Yeah, let's do that.
Nice.
You can come to Heusden sometime. Do you have a bike here?
No.
Public transport can take you there. From Dampoort, it's like half an hour. Or
Okay.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a little like studio thing going on, so we can do that.
Perfect.
Yeah. Do you prefer like a live recording, or would you? We could also do it separately. You know, the guitar and the vocal.
I'm not necessarily used to live recording, but for something like this, I feel like the play between the organic instrument, I feel like it would be much more powerful.
Yeah. I think so too. Okay, yeah, let's do that.
How's Monday looking?
Monday. Well, I'm house sitting for Bert at the moment, so I'm not in Heusden. I'm not staying in Heusden right now. But from next week on, like next week Thursday or Wednesday, I'm going back to Heusden. So from then on, you know, we could meet in the weekend, or on a Monday or a Tuesday would also work. Yeah, let's do that.
Nice.
Awesome.
I'm happy.
Yeah, me too. Oh, beautiful vocal on this one.
Thank you.
Nice. Yeah.
Sometimes I'm like surprised by myself when I hit a high note. I'm like, I did that.
Yeah, I know that feeling. But with me, it's very unpredictable. Like sometimes I can manage, and sometimes I really can't. And I'm still figuring out how my voice works, basically. That's
Same.
Yeah.
I mean, my main issue is that I don't warm up, and then I'm like, oh no, I smoked too much and I'm losing my voice.
Yeah.
No, just warm up.
Yeah, I know. I have the same problem. Like I don't warm up, and then I immediately go for this difficult stuff, and then I'm like, I suck. Whereas actually, I am capable. I just need to warm up. But I took a couple of singing classes at one point when I was teaching music myself in the music school in Bruges, and like just a handful of singing lessons. But she's really good and helped me quite a lot with certain things.
Mm-hmm.
But the warm up thing, that's important.
Mm-hmm.
And I can easily get discouraged by this kind of thing where I try something and I go for these difficult songs where I have to hit these high notes without going to falsetto or whatever, and then it comes out crappy. I'm like, oh god, it's terrible. Oh well. Loping along through the cosmos, and sideways I slide through the square. I'm hoping so hard for a kiss from God. I miss the sweet love of the air. A silver chariot so Through mercury ripples of sky, I'm looking so hard for a place to land. I almost forgot how to fly. So keep on moving or stay by my side. Either way, I'll tell you a secret I've never revealed. However we are is okay. A silver chariot soars through mercury ripples of sky. I'm looking so hard for a place to land. I almost forgot how to fly. So keep on moving or stay by my side. Either way, I'll tell you a secret I've never revealed. However we are is okay.
This one of yours?
No, I wish. It's Judy Sill, this one. Yeah, discovered her recently. Amazing songwriter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You're always finding these obscure artists.
I am.
Is it your hobby?
Yeah, kind of. It kind of is, yeah. Like, for a couple of years now, I've been obsessed with the music of Laura Nyro as well, and it's also, I mean, she's obscure now, pretty much, but she wasn't back in the, late 60s, early 70s. Like, she was kind of big, but she's sort of half forgotten for some reason. Her work is amazing, like, so unique. And this Judy Sill that I recently discovered, she was on the same record label.
Mm.
So basically I discovered her through like Spotify, like, autoplay just suggested that song to me. And I was like, wow, this is nice. I'm going to check that out. And then I, did some research. I always do the research, Wikipedia, and like, what's the history? Like, where does this artist come from? How many albums? Blah, blah, blah. And she only made 2 albums in her life, and it's like a super interesting backstory. Like, she used to be a liquor store robber. Like, she used to rob liquor stores with like some gang, like armed robbery, and she used to be a prostitute as well and a junkie. And then after she came out of reform school or something like that, she just decided to be a songwriter and to devote her life to music. And she was also like quite religious, so it was quite an interesting combination of biographical data there, and beautiful music that came out of it. So that's one of her songs.
There is this school of thought that great creative genius comes from pain.
Yeah.
How do you subscribe to that or no?
Well, no. I mean, it's part of the picture, but I think, great art or creativity or whatever comes from experience. So, that will include pain, inevitably, but it doesn't have to be, suffering doesn't have to be the source of any inspiration, or it's just you can't be experienced as a human being and not have suffered pain, right? So it's just part of it's part of the whole deal. But
do you think our current culture gravitates toward the grotesque?
That's an interesting question.
So I mean, I don't mean grotesque as in disgusting, but grotesque personally just means anything that is exaggerated and caricatured in a negative sense.
I'm not sure what you're referring to be honest.
So just like, if you have a story that you're going to tell through, art in some medium, it has to be just like the most horrible set of circumstances you can imagine for it to be something that people will pay attention to. So it has to be like really like extra.
For it to be artistically noteworthy, or
for it to break through or pierce through the entire gamut of things that are just out there right now.
Where'd you get that idea?
It's something I stewed on for quite a while. That we do have a fascination with the grotesque in some sense. Like we want, gore and horror in our movies. We want pain and sorrow in our music, and poetry has to be some big lamentation. Otherwise, it's not like delicate poetry. Aside from Rupi Kaur, for example, that writes delicate poetry, it's not necessarily the first thing people will gravitate towards. Like maybe they would want their poetry to be more emotive. And yeah, I don't know. It might be a false perception because the grotesque it gives a bigger impression, so then it will seem like it takes more space. But I don't know.
That's interesting. I can't say I see things that way. Like, that you're the first person who suggests that to me. And I'm like, where is this coming from? I don't know. I'd need some more examples because you mentioned Rupi Kaur, but you didn't mention anybody who would fall into that category of the grotesque. So I'd have to have some examples. But I don't know. I guess when it comes to discovering art or music or literature for myself, I'm kind of isolated in a sense. Like I don't I'm not on forums or I don't go looking on social media or magazines or whatever. So I'm not very much up to date when it comes to current stuff going on. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I'm just always looking out for stuff that speaks to me personally, and usually that's older stuff. Some of it is new, but yeah.
You're an old soul.
Yeah, I think so. I think I am. I don't know. One of one artist that I admire a lot recently passed away, and I think he's one of the greats, great composers, Ryuichi Sakamoto.
I know this name.
Yeah, he's amazing. Just mind-blowing artist.
What has he scored?
Well, a lot of movies, Babel.
For fuck's sake, yes, he made
it's
the song at the end of Babel. That's his composition, right?
I haven't seen Babel actually, but I know the music.
But no. There's a song at the end of the song, and it's like do 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 do.
Yes, that's beautiful. Yeah,
I cried for 15 minutes to that song.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's hard to say with Sakamoto because I don't know much about his personal life, and judging from his music, there's a lot of melancholy in his music often. Like that one, for example, is very,
It's
it really
heavy.
comes in. It's heavy, yeah, definitely. So it goes very deep, but, in his case, and that's one of the reasons why I like him so much, he has music that is just so incredibly joyful, like, you couldn't imagine that guy's ever been unhappy, it's like, everything is good, it's just, and it's just all beauty and joy and, brightness, I don't know.
I should really explore his other...
He's amazing,
stuff.
like, it's incredible. He was in this band in the 70s and 80s called Yellow Magic Orchestra.
Mm-hmm.
It was like the Japanese Kraftwerk. That's basically what it is. It's so good. Like, there's nothing like it.
That sounds awesome already.
Yeah, it's like, electro, but with a lot of classical influences. There's Debussy in there and stuff. But also like all these Japanese, melodies and traditional things and also cliches and, they're kind of, very self-consciously like mocking Western interpretations of Japanese music and stuff like that. So it's, super interesting. And then, then there's all the solo stuff that he did, all the recordings and, and his piano works, like just piano, nothing else, so just solo piano. Then, ambient, all this weird experimental stuff that he did.
Oh, very varied.
Yeah, it's incredible. And some of the tracks he also sings on, and he's not a very good singer, but it's.
I love that.
Yeah, it's great.
I love that he takes a chance like that. That's nice.
You should check out Thatness and Thereness by Sakamoto. That's a lovely song on which he sings. Yeah. So. Yeah. But that's one example where I would think, I'm sure he's suffered, but he could never have, he can't have been a morose person or a very melancholic or, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he definitely produced great art, great music. So that's a counterexample of, what you were saying.
Yeah.
But do you have some examples in mind of this grotesque kind of?
Okay,
theory?
so the peak grotesque is the scream, for example.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
When you think of the grotesque and you want an image, that's it.
So that's the reference. Yeah.
Yeah, and so there's so much for visual art. It's not necessarily that, but in so many different media, like so video games geared towards the grotesque, action and movies like that geared towards the grotesque.
Well, yeah, but when it comes to video games, it depends, right? Oh my God, I recently played this video game at a friend's place. You remember Gent? Friend of mine?
No.
You don't?
No.
I'm sure you've met at one point. Well, anyways, so I was at his place. I was visiting. We actually had like a drink for his birthday, and he's living in Dasseldonk now, which is quite a distance from here. So I was staying the night there, and in the morning he just started playing on his PlayStation 5. Like he recently got a PlayStation 5, and he had this game. God, what was the name again? I think it was some kind of mythological reference, the title, but it was like a kind of dystopian game, dystopian setting, kind of like set in like a deserted prison, and there's some kind of virus outbreak, like a zombie, basically like a zombie kind of situation. So there's like all these people running around who are infected, and what happens is they get more muscular somehow, or stronger, of course, and very aggressive, extremely so, and like the sheer how do you say graphicness? That's not a word, right? But the graphic nature of the violence was incredible. Like I've never seen that before in a video game. I mean, I'd seen some, like there's God of War. I don't know if you know that game. Yeah, that one is also quite brutal. But this one was like, extremely graphic. Like, and they would zoom in on it. Like, you'd get killed by one of these infected people or zombies or whatever you want to call it. And they would zoom in. There'd be like a close shot of them like pushing your eyeballs out or stuff like that, or tearing a limb off, and really like, So that's, that just popped into my head when you were talking about video games like that. That's quite grotesque. But I mean, that depends on the genre, I guess.
Oh, yeah, with all things.
Yeah.
But I just mean the stuff that usually makes it to the, to like the tippy top of, the wider consciousness sometimes skews towards graphic stuff. And I mean, nothing wrong with that, but at a point it does get to be a bit much. And it's like, okay, do you have any other ideas? Yeah,
I thought the same in that case, definitely. But in film, for example, I'm also drawn to that. I mean, those are usually interesting films that will, like Lars von Trier films, for example, stuff like that, like the very dark stuff, or Aronofsky,
Don't know that one.
Requiem for a Dream.
Have I watched that?
The like drug movie, like like this.
Is that the one where they say double the dose?
Double the dose? Possibly, I don't remember that.
There is a movie quote where it's like double the dose, and they go, and I've been trying to find somebody who knows what movie it is.
It wouldn't surprise me if it's that one. But it's like really horrible, like really hard to watch, that one.
Is it?
It's super, like, you've seen Trainspotting probably, right?
Long time ago.
Okay, but that one is, it also shows the consequences of hard drugs and stuff like that. But it's still kind of playful, and it has like, it generally has kind of like a fun atmosphere to it, generally speaking. I mean, there are some horrible scenes, but it's like it's sort of like a comedy almost. But Requiem for a Dream really is not. Like, it's just terror, like from beginning to end, and it just it's getting worse all the time, and it's just like very depressing. And very graphic as well. But it's a good film. Like, it does really have a strong impact, and it really really comes through.
Yeah. Why do you think the digestion process for like really like what would be the way to describe this? Like things that really pierce the zeitgeist. Why do you think that process is so slow?
Sorry?
Like things that really pierce into the zeitgeist and really like capture a really wide audience and like gets critical acclaim and gets public attention, and just all the things come together to make this thing become like a cultural like
event, like a big
like a thing that people will refer to say like, oh yeah, this movie captured XYZ and everybody liked it and everybody, like, why do you think it's like, it's not rare, but for example, if you have like the Oscars, for example, there'll be so many awards, but really and truly there's like one movie out of all of the awards that you'll know, okay, this one is going to be rewatched and remembered and it's going to stick out amongst all the other ones. do you have you ever thought about why that process is not like widespread? It's like it takes like only a few people at a time in a generation to really capture these ideas properly.
Yeah, I guess, but that's a very difficult one to answer. Yeah, I can't say much about that.
Yeah, that's okay. I'm still stewing on that one. So.
What do you think? What's your take on that?
I mean, I haven't really. I mean, I've formulated the question. I haven't gotten to the answer part.
Right. Okay. That makes sense. Yeah. No, but it's. I mean, it's an important question. It's definitely an interesting question. But it's a very big question as well.
I mean, I think it boils down to like a bunch of different factors, including the fact that like people who have access towards creating like their proper, like if you have something in your head, there are so many obstacles to the realization of that, including capitalistic, malcontents that might come in the way of you being able to do what you want to do. You have personal struggles that you might have to face while you're trying to accomplish something that get in the way of you being able to optimize your energy, the team that you're working with.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's
a lot of complicated factors that have to come together to make something really like pierce.
Yeah.
True. Okay, question answered.
Yeah. But I mean, at the same time, for example, when you mention, well, not even only with personal struggles, but even like, these technical difficulties or budget-wise or whatever, like many works that are considered great works of art were produced under very stressful circumstances as well. There's like, I didn't see it, but there's this whole TV series about the making of The Godfather, right? And it was a terror. That I know that they had a lot of difficulties and the mafia was involved, and it must have been crazy. And I haven't seen the TV series, but that's what I got from it. Like Francis Ford Coppola really struggled to get that movie made in the first place, and then when they started production, there were like all these different issues and a lot of things to take into account, personal struggles, and so it's not a matter of managing to eliminate those struggles or to somehow I guess it's a matter of somehow managing to integrate them into the whole process and
being malleable.
Yeah, exactly. Another example is the artist I mentioned before, Laura Nero, the singer-songwriter that I'm very fond of. Her second album was also very stressful, and she didn't enjoy the process at all. Whereas when you hear the album, it's a masterpiece. Yeah. And there's so much joy in it as well, and so
But I mean, the thing is that even in those struggles, something has to go right for it to come out that way.
Yeah, yeah.
So exactly. It could be that the person has just like a background of, having to already overcome obstacles, so they're used to persevering.
But I guess if we knew the answer to the question, then we would have made a masterpiece already by now.
I have made masterpieces. Excuse you, I'm just not good at publishing.
Okay, fair enough.
Rude.
Rude for not saying you've already made a masterpiece, not admitting that. I'm willing to believe you. Yeah. No, but a lot of factors come into that, and a lot of it has to go right. Yeah.
All right. One last song for the road.
Sure. You want to do another improv?
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah. Why not here?
That's a pretty turn.